Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking my bracket prediction for EMEA Stage 3. We have gotten to the main event. The group stage is behind us. The Swiss bracket is behind us. We now have our top 8 teams from the EMEA region. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on where I think this bracket is going to go as we move into this third of 4 main events here in EMEA for 2024. So, let's throw up the bracket. None of my picks yet, just the blank bracket. So you can see here, we have Space Station taking on Yeah, Virtus Pro taking on AOMA or a one-man army, ENCE taking on Hypnos, and Twisted Minds taking on Super Shy. So, those are the teams that are competing in this one. Let's take a look now at my specific bracket. Here it is. Let's go over it. Let's go over it bit by bit. We'll start with the upper bracket, and then we'll run through the lower bracket once we've managed to go through the top. So, before we jump into it, as always, just want to say, of course, if you have different thoughts, opinions, whatever, I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments down below. I want to throw that out before we get into this one, just because I think it's really fascinating. It's always interesting, and I think brackets are always such an interesting kind of thing. Opinions can change a lot as you go, too, so I just want to kind of throw out there, like, this is my bracket that I'm showing you now. I could make changes even as I'm recording this. I don't plan on it, but it's going to be interesting to see, and just want to throw that out there. So, like I said, let's start from the top. I don't think there's a lot of huge surprises here in this opening round. I'm taking the field and taking all the top seeds to win their opening matches. Space Station, they still look like one of the top teams here in EMEA. They were the best team in Stage 2. They had the best result of the EMEA teams at the Dallas Major. They did pretty well in the Face It Masters division, whatever it was. Not the best performance in Esports World Cup, though not something, to be ashamed of. So they've still looked pretty solid. I don't think Yeah really can reach the level that Space Station can, though I suppose we'll see if they're able to kind of have a good run. Virtus Pro over AOMA. AOMA, to be fair, absolutely bonkers route for them to even get here. That game they had over formerly Team Peps, Gaming Gladiators, was unbelievable. They somehow just came back from the brink 3 times in a row. 3 maps where, like, there's no way this team is able to win this, and they just did it. You can't do that against Virtus Pro. I think this Virtus roster is very, very good. They have looked phenomenal this year, or at least over the past kind of couple of months. They've been a team very much on the rise, so I don't think AOMA's got it in them for this one. I just think Virtus Pro have looked very, very good. And so, yeah, I'm taking Virtus in that one. ENCE over Hypnos. ENCE, kind of a new look roster. They look different than they have. Their support line has been going through some changes, but they still have the same damage and tank. So, it's not a team that I think is bad by any means, but I don't love some of the changes they made going into this tournament. I don't think Hypnos will be the challenge that will potentially unseat them, but certainly a team that I have my eyes out for, potentially looking a little weaker going into this tournament as compared to previous ones. And then Twisted Minds takes on Super Shy. I think Super Shy is probably the best of these 4 lower seeded teams. I think they have been more impressive than the others. You consider the group that they were in was pretty tough. They did play the likes of Ex Oblivione and SR Peak Check, I believe, was the other team. So that group was also the one of, I think Virtus was in that group. It was a very good group, a very tough group. So for me, Super Shy kind of proved themselves. They had to win in a very tough group. I think they are potentially a team, and this was true in the last tournament too. They are a team that can have a pretty decent run. They have a lot of really good players. They've shown themselves quite a bit. I think Twisted Minds right now is in a better position. I think they made a lot of very good changes. I think they probably put themselves in the best position of all the teams when you go back to what happened in Stage 2. They obviously have overturned a lot of their roster. They hold on to UB, they hold on to Quartz, and they look to be in a pretty good spot. I think they should be one of the favorites to get a nice kind of run here as well. But I think Super Shy, probably that game has the highest chance of being pretty close. So move on to the next round. You'd have Space Station taking on Virtus Pro. I think these two right now look to be two of the three best teams in the region. It is hard to say for sure for me where it is. I am going to trust in Space Station right now. I know Virtus had a very good run, whether it be in facing Masters. I think they won their group that they were in with Space Station in Esports World Cup. So they've looked pretty good. Now Virtus hasn't had to play through the same things as Space Station this go around, so we haven't seen them play in a while. Virtus was the best team in the qualifiers. They were the team that had the best positioning going into they had the best Swiss run, so they are a very good team. They are a team to fear. They are a team that is dangerous. I think they are one of the teams with the best chance of beating Space Station. Right now, I have to favor Space Station just because I think I've been impressed with what we've seen out of them. And I think in general, they're just a team that I've seen more out of throughout the year. I think that they've still looked just as good as they have. I think they've really kind of figured out their identity quite well. They've perfected it. They've really solidified it. So I think they still are the favorites in this one. But this is, as you can see, I don't think this is the only time we'll see these teams play. I think they, right now, are on a collision course to be playing a lot between now and the end of the year. I think there's still a lot of time for these two teams to compete, both in this tournament, going into Stage 4, and even potentially going into the Stockholm tournament. And then of ENCE against Twisted Minds, I think Twisted Minds right now is in a very good spot. I like a lot of the changes they made to their roster. Obviously, you bring in a Korean backline. That helps quite a bit. Vigilante and Bliss, very good players. You know that you're going to get pretty good performance out of them. And they have a solid team throughout. Obviously, TVNT coming in to be their new tank player. They still have Quartz, UB, and Lambda in their DPS line. So they're a lot of the best parts of this team, the best performing parts of this team, they hold on to. They bolster their support line. I like what this team has become quite a bit in terms of just their level of talent. ENCE, I really need to see more out of them. I know that is somewhat disrespectful for a team that did go 6-0 in their group, didn't drop a single map, but I think they had arguably the weakest group. Space Station group wasn't very good either. Groups A and B were not super strong. I don't think either of those two teams were pushed really at all. ENCE was with, Wasp and Meta Boys. Like, neither of those teams really inspire much confidence in me. So I think it is really difficult to read this team. Whereas Twisted Minds went 6-0 in a group that consists of a Gaming Gladiators team that looked pretty good, and a woman army also had a pretty decent run, getting their win over Gaming Gladiators. We saw that there was a challenge for them. Like, there was definitely levels of play there that were pretty solid. And I just like the changes they made. So I think this game should be pretty close. It should be pretty good. ENCE has been very good at making it to the finals. I think they've won the upper bracket finals in both of the last two tournaments and then lost in the grand finals. I don't think it's going to go that way this time. Lots of turnover for this ENCE roster, from their coaching to their supports, and it's just been a very kind of rotating door. I feel like it's hard to really solidify your team in that way. Obviously, same situation with Twisted Minds, but ENCE is a team that hasn't really been able to punch up to that top level yet. They haven't been able to get that win under their belt. I don't love them trying to do that now with the roster they have assembled for this one. So it's tough, but I think there is a lot of really good play in EMEA. It's very hard to be consistently on the top, and I think Twisted Minds made changes that I like to see. I think they ultimately made their roster better than they were in Stage 2, which isn't that hard, and they've gotten a good spot here to challenge ENTS and potentially take down Space Station in the upper bracket finals, though I'm still going to roll with Space Station Gaming. I think they still look better, and they still look like the best team in EMEA right now. I think it's hard to argue against them, so I will take them to move on to the grand finals because I just think they've shown me more. I need to see Twisted Minds play against the top teams in EMEA before I'm ready to once again, give them my vote of confidence. Back to the bottom, however, I think Aoma right now is a team I favor over. Oh yeah, I like the pieces they added. Their supports, Donghoon, very good player. Top Dragon, very good player. Doesn't hurt to bring in Koreans to bolster your roster here. It's worked for a lot of teams, and Aoma seemingly no exception. I think they are just a little bit more multifaceted than Aoya is. Aoya is very good at what they do. Aoma is a team that just has to kind of really just stick to their strengths as well, and try to keep the maps in their favor as best as they can. Obviously, I think this one could actually be quite close, but I favor Aoma just ever so slightly to take that one. And then Hypnos versus Super Shy. Hypnos to me is kind of a team that made it here really on virtue of the fact that their group was really weak outside of Space Station Gaming. They're a pretty good roster. My apologies. They're a pretty good roster. Obviously, MCD on this team, notable piece. But a lot of the players in this team are quite a bit below the level that you see with teams like Twisted Minds, Virtus, Space Station, and ENTS. I like Super Shy a lot. They have been very good this year. They've been consistently one of the top performers here in EMEA. They arguably should have been present back in the first tournament. They got very close and just kind of got lost out to some of the way that the Swiss was done. But now they're here, 2 straight tournaments. I think they've proven to be pretty solid back-to-back times. So I do think they have a very real chance at being a threat, and I think they take that one. This would set up ENTS to take on Aoma. I think, even though I don't think ENTS is the best-looking team we have seen so far in EMEA, I still think they're in a better position than Aoma. I don't think it's a tough game for them there, and I think they're a pretty successful and easy win there for them. Virtus Pro against Super Shy. Interesting one. I don't think we saw them play in their group stage, though they were in the same group. But if memory serves me correctly, Virtus beat Ex Oblivione and then beat SR Peak Check. Maybe they did play Super Shy. I have to remind myself if they did. They did. They played Super Shy. It was a 3-1 victory when they played. So I expect a similar result. I think Virtus, they just look like the better team. I've been very impressed with them so far this year. And I think a win is still likely for that one. As much as I do like what we've seen in a Super Shy, I just think Virtus Pro still looks like one of the best teams in EMEA currently. And I think they find another one there. That sets up Virtus to take on ENTS. And I think Virtus right now should be favored in that one. They've been better recently. They've been consistently among one of the top performers in the EMEA region across a couple different tournaments as of late. So I find it difficult right now to pick against them outside of against, maybe like the top teams in the region. So really a big fan of what we've seen from them. I think that they've been pretty strong. I really like the way that they obviously took a lot of that former Ataraxia core, added some other really good players to it. I don't remember if Shockwave was on. Was he on Ataraxia? I know he was on EXO for a while. I don't remember if he was actually on. I don't think. Maybe he did. I don't remember when he joined the team, but he joined. I guess they all joined back in June, so they all kind of got this team together at the same time. But I've been impressed. I have actively been impressed by what this team has done, and I think that they really should be seen as one of the top EMEA performers. I think they have really kind of hit the scene. It feels like they hit it late. Obviously, a lot of these players have been around, right? Like Shockwave was on that EXO team that got third in the first stage, so he brings quite a few points with him to this team. And I think the more they continue to play well, I think there is a definite chance that they could be one of the teams that makes it to the major in Stockholm, or the international in Stockholm. But I think they win this game. I think they beat Twisted Minds as well. I right now like what Virtus has done. They beat Twisted Minds in the Swiss bracket, obviously. That was, 3 weeks ago now? So we can't make too much of that. These teams have changed. There's been 2 weeks since we saw either of these teams even play a game at this point when I'm recording this. Or by the time we see them this weekend. So it is tough because there has been stuff that has changed. There are things that can have a major impact on the game as we know it. But I still really like what Virtus has been and what they've done. I think their synergy and the fact that they've been together throughout the summer does benefit them a little bit more than what you have with Twisted Minds when they bring in their Korean players. How much are they going to be able to gel and work together and really achieve their full potential, which is what it seems like Virtus has been able to hit lately. I just feel very good right now about this Virtus roster. I think they're in a very good spot. I think they are the favorite for me to challenge Space Station there in that grand final. But like I said, right now I still feel very, very good about this Space Station roster. They still are arguably the best team in EMEA. It's close. It's not a guarantee. There's a lot of other teams that have been pretty good. But I still give them quite a bit of love. I still think they have a lot of the strengths that are required for the teams that are the best in not just EMEA, of course. Like every team that's good, you want to have that established core. Not a lot of turnover on the top teams across all regions. They've been very consistent. They've kept things together. And I think they are still in the pole position to be the top seeded team. But it is certainly not a guarantee like it feels like in my opinion, North America and Korea and Asia as a whole. Like Crazy Raccoon's going to win in Asia. I'd be shocked if they don't. And if Toronto Defiant don't win in North America, I would be completely baffled. Here, I think there is room for Virtus or Twisted Minds or ENCE to have a very good run and have a good tournament and dethrone this Space Station roster. But right now, I give Space Station the edge, and I think they are the team that ultimately wins the Stage 3 main event here in EMEA. So let me know in the comments down below, like I said at the beginning, who do you have winning? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me, disagree with me, whatever it may be? And if you enjoy this video and want more like it in the future, consider liking and subscribing, as your support does help out a lot with this channel. I know uploads have been weird. I get it. Life is weird. Things are weird. But we're here for the ride. Do not worry. That's going to be all from me once again for today. Hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy. And until next time. Bye-bye.